What if you've already done that? If you've already done dysfunction to your children, I won't make a joke. You, I always say, I know because you're fine. I always say all we can do in that is as soon as we know we've done it, we own it. I mean, literally, if your parent, if your children, if they're still in contact with you, and hit me today, or I learned today, the healthier way of parenting, I should have done blank. I'm very sorry. I did not know at the time that was the healthy way to do it. Whether I didn't know it, I was ignorant, I was taught wrong, whatever, but you deserved to have had that, and I didn't give it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I really am sorry. Is there anything you need from me, step two, at all? Do you need to vent? Do you need to? A lot of kids might go, oh, whatever, mom, dad, no big deal. It's a big deal to me because I love you and I wanted you to have the healthiest possible environment. And it was the possible healthy because that's all I had to give you. But looking backwards, I sure wish for your sake that I would have been able to do that. I didn't know. And I'm very sorry. I mean, can I pay for your therapy? Third question. Can I? I think that's it. But that teaches you're human, you're humble, you owned it. I mean, none of us are omniscient, none of us are flawless. Good heavens. That's all we can do. Having said that quick footnote, most humans have a basic sense of resiliency and survival mechanisms about them that, in my view, God puts in our soul. Otherwise, we would be nothing but a big ball of walking trauma. Sad, depressed, can't bathe, can't eat. We're just all the time. I think God gives us the aspect of the soul that says, no, God gives me this energy, strength to wake up as best as we can, even when we've had bad parents. And that's my point. So, yes, parenting is very influential, but ruin them for life? No, no. That gives you not you, that would assume parents have way more power than they really do. God has that authority and power, not parents. So it's a me of both and. They're very influential, but they can't ruin your kids. Ain't it good? Thank you. Any question or comments about? Sometimes your kids do well in spite of you. Yes, they do. I mean, just tell the story, and I'll move on unless there are more questions. I remember when Hayden was probably 7-ish. I remember he had just started being able to drive by height and weight in the truck, roughly, and he was in the front seat with me. And so maybe was that 6 years old or so. And we were driving. Well, he used to, of course, like now, ask questions. Dad, why do you think about? And so at one point we were doing that, and he goes, Dad, you that boy, like kids do. And he said, Dad, what if I grow up and I'm smarter than you? And he had that. I can't believe I said it. What if I'm smarter than you? And I remember I looked at you, and I mean, without blinking, I was driving. I looked at him and I said, "Son," and I said, "I hope you're better than me in every way." And he went like he did not expect that. I mean, he was stunned, and that's something. So I said it again. I said, "Son, absolutely, I want you better than me than every single possible way. That's exactly what I want for you. That's exactly what I want." What? Like he didn't really. I thought. I mean that. So yeah, in spite of me, I want you better. I want you to do better than. I want you to be a better parent, better Christian, better disciple, better everything. Joy's already there, but I want Hayden to get better than what I love you. No, thank you. Yeah, we do. We do. Any other questions or comments about that? Okay, so parents, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Please don't give up. You go back over and over and over. Oh, I blew that. Oh, I did great on that. Way to go. High five me. If your parents were pretty inadequate, then that last Roman numeral again is for you, that you can have your own healing. The wounds are not your fault, but your recovery is your choice. That's what I always say. I was just having a conversation with someone this morning because I say it all the time. That person needs Jesus and therapy in that order. So we do. And that's okay because Jesus uses that. He heals, heals, heals. Okay, page 28. Healthy boundaries with God. All right. So this is pretty short and sweet, but I'll tell you the truth. For personally, David, this, I mean, I guess to some degree, almost everything changes your life. This was one for me. I had never thought so clearly about God's own boundaries until I first read this concept in Boundaries book back in the, I guess it was the 2000s, almost the 1900s. But it was several years ago. It was a little short chapter in the book Boundaries. And so this is a summary slash, I've expanded it some, but this just, for me, theologically, philosophically, became so helpful on multiple grounds. It really did. So one, I've said several times, but just to make sure we see this real clear, is that boundaries do come from God. See, before there was humans around and creatures sinning, there's just God. And he always has this, I'm a Trinitarian, God the Father, Son, Spirit. So there's distinction with connection, Father, Son, Spirit. So the Father's not the Son Son's not the Spirit, Spirit's not the Father. Each one has very particular roles. This is standard orthodoxy. The Father sends the Son dies and rises, the Spirit indwells, things like that. But there's boundaries. That teaches that boundaries they're not separation, they're not disconnection. They're the foundation for proper love. They call that, the guy named Martin Buber, he was a Christian theologian, he called it the I-thou relationship. I'm and there's you. It's very important for Christians to grasp this. I would say humans to grasp this. I'm here and God is different, but we're related. That is to say, in a love relationship. Not like the Father, Son, Spirit, because only they're God. But the point is, there's a relationship there. But just because there's a boundary between God the Father, Son, Spirit doesn't mean they don't love each other. Real intimacy requires real identity. So if you have love with no boundaries, that's not a relationship. You're just the same thing. You're this fusion. That's enmeshment. But boundaries are from God. God likes, I stop here, you start there. Now, let's have a love relationship. Oh, you screwed it up. I'll save you. The point is, but it doesn't mean we're separate. I don't care about you. So boundaries come from him. And I think that's good and true. That's really helped me through all my life. When I start feeling guilty for establishing a boundary, I go, wait a second. God invented them. So first, before I dismiss them, let's listen carefully. Okay. 2, God respects our responsibilities or our boundaries. Now, I put the responsibilities and boundaries because if you remember back to day 1, and I know you do, boundaries help us. Just kidding, Sarah. It's okay to grin. So, Dave, when I put on this uniform, there's no smiling. Yes, cop. My dog literally went to jail last night. My kids wouldn't watch him. He's gone. This Facebook person finds it, praise God, and after a long conversation, she goes, oh, I took him to the pound. I said, where do I go? What do I do? And she was nice. And she goes, call this number. Well, it's the police department. She goes, your dog neutered? Yes. Does he have his records? Oh, he's got tons of records, but I don't have them now. It's Saturday night. Well, if it's it's his first offense, and he's neutered, they might reduce the fee. I said, like he has a record? It's $25 is it there? I said, I got to pay the cops to get my dog back? I'm thinking, is this a hostage negotiation? I just want my dog back. Sarah came here today to tell me that my dog is under arrest. I thought, man, this is next level. Kiwani takes this seriously. God respects our boundaries. Boundaries are a way to say, remember way back, I've said this, just repeating it on purpose, let it sink in. Boundaries help us distinguish for what we are responsible. We're responsible for what we value. I'm not responsible, you're responsible, that's yours, and this is mine. God respects that. Respect doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. It doesn't mean you're God. It's just saying he respects that. He has a sense of, I value, God would say, that he honors boundaries. I love it. God's the most boundary honoring being in existence. Though he is a king, he doesn't bulldoze over human will, responsibility, personhood. He invites. He doesn't compel. He invites. Today's sermon on the parable. He invites you to the banquet. He invites you. He doesn't make you do it because he respects your boundaries. You can say no to him. So, a couple things that really stand out about that, some aspects of that. First, God assumes that his role is different from our roles. His role is different from our roles. So creation can do things, right? He could do that. He could make food show up in my stomach. But he chooses to work through human agents. He wants us to work, to grow. He wants us to have moral responsibility. Yes, he could right now go, boom, no one's sick. Boom, no one has a headache. Boom, every addiction is stopped. He can do that, but he doesn't do that typically. He works through us. David, you go love on so-and-so. Go do it. That child's hungry. Go make a meal and give it to the child. I don't want to pop food into every single hungry stomach. I want to get you mobilized to go make food and give it to the, that is moral responsibility. And so he can do it. He does it sometimes, but he chooses to work through human agents. His role is different from our role. So, for example, outside of rare miracles, we are to provide for the widows and orphans. That's James 1:27. We are. Christians are. We are. God does it through us, but he says, yeah, go do it. You're my child, go get to work. We are to provide for the financial needs of others. 1 Timothy 6:17 and 18. God hasn't happened to me yet. Money floating from heaven, just appearing like, look, it's a 20. Jesus' face on the flip side. I mean, it doesn't happen. I have to go get a job. And then 1 Timothy, Paul says, it's the wealthy who provide for the needs of. We do that. We are to make disciples. Matthew 28:19. He doesn't say, I got it. Don't worry about it. Hey, y'all go take a nap. He says, go make disciples. We are to grow in our salvation. Philippians 2:12. Continue to work out your salvation. God does not do it for us what he commands us to do. God does not do for us what he commands us to do. So that's that mark of respect. Now I want you to get to work. Now go do it. Now sometimes people hear what I just said, and I'll go on. I'm trying not to beat the proverbial dead horse, but I'm not new to this. Oh, you think you're just independent of God? No, I don't. And the New Testament does not. I've said it 1,000 times. God developed humanity to work through them to get to work. Sometimes I call it like this, I'll say, we're God's hands and feet. We're God's hug. He designed it that way. It's not this either or nonsense that people like to make it. It's a both and. He works through us. He wants to work through us. So his role is different from our role. God allows us to feel our emotions, even when we don't like what God is doing. He likes us to feel our emotion. He allows us to feel our emotions, even when we don't like what he's doing. Job, David, Jeremiah, man, they are ticked off. They're sad. He invites that emotion. He absorbs it. He meets us through it. He doesn't demand we fake our feelings. The Psalms are full of raw prayers. Oh my goodness, if you've read the Psalms, whew, those are poems. A lot of those were put to music. Like I've never heard stuff in a church service like you read in the Psalms. Ever. That stuff wouldn't fly. You ought to read them. They train us to bring our emotional lives to sacred, truthful relationship with him. The Psalms of lament, they are upset. They're not happy all the time. Love, joy, peace, patience, yeah, fruit of the Spirit all day long. Yes, woohoo. It doesn't follow from that humans don't have very distressful emotions, even when we have them because we're doing the right thing. Jesus, I'm being obedient to you, and it's cost me my job. I'm being obedient to you, and it's cost me friendships. I'm being obedient to you, and it lost a relationship. That makes me sad. There's a loss there. And in my therapy work with people, because I am a Christian, I think God wants you to feel better. And I think you want to honor and love the parts of you that are hurting. And I think he meets us there. Now, why do I think such a thing? Because that's what Jesus did in the Gospels. When people came up in John 11, Lazarus is dead, and Mary and Martha, and they're crying. He doesn't go, what's wrong with you? Buck up. Be strong. That's what you need. You know what? I need to be strong for Martha right now. So what am I going to do? Dry that tear up. Let's do this. Here's a Bible verse. It says he wept. He wept. He allows us to feel emotions. It reminds me of parenting. A lot of times it is a good analogy. Not perfect, but a lot of times good. I used to tell my kids, are you mad? If they got disciplined, grounded, whatever, I'll go, that's all right. You can be mad at me. I'm okay with that. I want them to hear me say it. And I said it. Yeah, it's okay to be mad at me. I want to give them know that they have permission, that the relationship is not at stake. You are mad. Usually it was a childish reason, like, I don't have that extra donut or toy or whatever. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes there's other reasons, like I acted wrong. I snapped. I was rude. I was whatever. They're still mad at me, but that's okay. I don't go, how dare you? Well, God does that with us. He's just perfect at it. And some of you are like, no, I would never, ever, ever be mad at God. Okay, awesome. Most people are not like you. Nor a lot of the psalmists weren't like you. They can be very angry. Read Job. He's ticked off. I mean, in my opinion, my interpretation, he's mad. And God's like, I'm okay with that. I can absorb your anger, your sadness, your confusion, your doubt. Yep. I would with my children. Do I cease to exist because my children doubt my goodness? Poof, I no longer exist. I'm mad at them. No, I go, I know you don't understand. I'm sorry you don't understand. I feel compassion towards your confusion. That's what God does to us, but perfectly. That's a boundary. I don't come and make you zap you. Let me say it this way, use psychological vocabulary. God's not our rescuer. Meaning, God's not codependent. God does not determine his identity to make sure you don't feel distressful emotions. Yes, he's our rescue theologically. I mean psychologically. If you don't know the difference, just ignore this whole study. Stop watching online because you're confusing. Rescue meaning he's not codependent. He doesn't go, oh no, Julie's going to be upset. I've got to fix this. And he's nervous up there in heaven just going, oh, that's a rescuer. He doesn't do that. He goes, no, you can have those emotions if you want them. I don't want you to have them. I want you to trust me. I love you. I want to help you. But I'm not going to try to override your will. I'm not going to do that. If you want to keep worrying about that, I'll let you worry. I wouldn't do it. But if it makes you feel good to stay up and obsess for 8 hours, hey, go ahead there, David. Letter C, God lets people walk away. He never, ever begged people to stay. That clicked with me. Oh, my goodness, I've said this for years and years. He always respected that he spoke the truth in love, but he always respected their choices. John 6:66, remember where Jesus says in John 6, unless you eat my flesh, drink my blood, you cannot be my disciple. It grossed them out. It freaked them out. Who is this lunatic? I'm not a cannibal. And they leave him. And they left him. He lets them go. And the disciples go, what a difficult teaching. He goes, you going to leave me too? We have no story in the Gospels where he chases, come back, Pharisee, I didn't mean to offend you. He lets them go. Luke 15, give me my inheritance. That's a parable, right? But Jesus, that's the point, is God, who the Father in that parable does represent, I'm sure, God the Father. He lets the child go. It's not just about God's mercy, it's about his willingness to let someone leave. That's boundary respecting love. I won't control you. He lets you walk away. Man, I'm telling you, that helped me so much in life. Why did God let that happen? Because he lets them go. He doesn't want it, but he loves them so much. He goes, I'm not a rapist. I won't force myself upon you. I'm not going to do that. He doesn't want that to happen. I respect your no, even to me. Now, there are consequences for that. God holds each person accountable for their own life. Right? He says that in Romans 14:12. Paul says, we're all going to be held account. We're not accountable for other people. If you've ever had me in therapy, I've said many, many, many times, when you go to the judgment seat of Christ, he's going to look at you and say what you did. He's not going to say, why did you let so-and-so do that? What? Did you see those choices they made? There's no biblical reason to think that at all. We've got our own issues. Just me and the Lord Jesus, who knows me perfectly. That's moral ownership. I'm responsible for what I say, feel, believe, and do, not for what others do. Man, that's liberating. All right, if you're children of chaotic or codependent homes, you're not judged for your parents' failure. You're not blamed for someone else's addiction or trauma. It's not my fault. I didn't do that. I just had to live in that storm. But he's going to hold each person accountable for what they did. They did. Now, please let that sink in. Because if you have children who go off and make dumb choices, sinful choices, oh, it's all my fault. It's not all your fault. You might be the fault for why they think that way, maybe why they're wounded, but they have moral responsibility for what they chose. God will hold them accountable for what they chose. He holds you accountable for what you chose. They're not, you see, those are different. They're different. I stole that food, I stole that toy at the store because I saw my dad steal. And God goes, okay, never mind. You saw your dad do it, that's why. No, you shouldn't have stolen. You're held accountable for that. But he's perfect about the justice. And if you're in Jesus, you're forgiven. I'm just saying that he doesn't hold me accountable for what mom and dad did, my brother did, my friends do, what Julia does. Hayden does, what Elaine does. I've got my own stuff that needs forgiveness. Letter E, God's boundaries extend into forever and ever and ever and ever. So hell's not a divine temper tantrum. Hell is not a divine temper tantrum. I want life without you. I don't want you, God. He says, I'll let you be that way forever. It doesn't coerce. And that's the way it is. I will let you stay in this way forever. God, as God and God alone, has the right to ask for that judgment in the office of God. Absolutely. Period. I also appreciate C.S. Lewis's point, though I think he goes too much into it, but C.S. Lewis's point that he said, if hell is locked, it's locked from the inside. Meaning, of course, those are people who do not want to be in a loving relationship with God. They've locked the door themselves. Stay out. I do agree with that. I just think that's not going far enough. Because in the Gospels, all through the Old and New Testament, God doesn't just say, I'll have it your way. It's these are negative consequences for your sin. It's not just that, but I think they're together. I think we are judged. I think will be judged. If you're in Christ, you're forgiven, but I think we will be judged because people need judgment. But there's a degree to which it is you're judged because you're sinned because you don't want to do it. And I'm not going to make you do it, but there's consequences for that. Let me pause there and say, do you have any questions or comments about anything I've said here, how God respects our boundaries or responsibilities? Any question or comments? So that's God toward us. Any question or comments? Great question. If you decide to walk away from God, is that a sin? I would probably say yes. Yeah. So some might be in the mind go, of course it is. I always think when it comes, is that a sin? Is there a Bible verse that says walking away is a sin? I would say, I don't know of a Bible verse that says that. However, there are multiple Bible verses that speak of those who have done that and or tempted to do it need to be rescued. Jude says it's like rescuing them from the fire. That is, there's destruction, there's horrible death on the other side. Help, help, help. It's not as clear to me that the walking away itself is a sin. But if I had to say yes or no, I would say yes, I think it is. Because I can't imagine a worse thing than rejecting the greatest conceivable being in the universe as a sinful choice. Even though it gives us choices. Oh, good question. So even though God gives us a choice, is it still a sin? Yes, ma'am. Because I think God gives, my view is that humans have moral agency. We have the capacity. I think there's an aspect of our soul, being technical, that allows us the capacity to make choices. By that I mean, nothing outside of us, in my view, forces me to make that choice. Nothing forces me. I'm influenced. I'm influenceable. I've said this before. I'm a white man from the South. I have see the world through my lens and so forth. Yeah. The question is, did something make me choose that versus that choice? My response is no. That's very important in my understanding of God and reading the Bible correctly, because then it clarifies for me my moral responsibility. If I had no choice, then I'm not morally responsible for what happened. So just because we're given the capacity to make a choice, it does not follow from that I can't be moral or immoral in my choices. In fact, that's what makes the capacity possible. I can use my hands for handshakes and hugs, and I think that's a good choice. I can use my hands to strangle. That's a bad choice. If someone made me, it's not my fault. I'd go to court. That's what they do, diminish responsibility. I was under the influence. I was temporarily insane. Oh, then you're off the hook or whatever. That's the way with God, I think. He says, no, I need Bonnie to be able to choose. Now, let's see what happens. Does she choose the right thing? That's called righteousness. Does she do the wrong thing? That's sin. If it's a moral issue, my own view is every choice is not a moral issue. I think there are all moral choices, like do I use a pen or a pencil? I don't think that's an act of sin or righteousness. Do I wear a blue shirt or a red shirt? To me, that's not an act of righteousness. So you can make choices that aren't moral. They're amoral. They're just, I drove on the right side today, or the right, whatever. But when it's a moral choice, I'm probably answering more than you asked. But just because we have the choice, capacity to choose, What follows from that is we are morally accountable if it's a moral choice. You can come back. If you choose to leave, you can come back. I think that absolutely. So my view is if a person chooses to reject Jesus, they can choose to come back. By choose, I don't mean save yourself. I just mean as what the New Testament means, which is respond in pistis, faith. God gives me the capacity to respond positively toward the invitation. David, you coming or not? You to come be saved and forgiven and loved and live the life I've designed you? Would you like to come do that, David? Yes or no, David? To me, that's what that means. What if I go, no, forget you? Well, then 26 years later, I go, oh my goodness, I was wrong to reject him. I do want him. My own view is he goes, then come on, baby. Luke 15, the prodigal son. In Hebrews, I'll move on, an author of Hebrews 10, it's either chapter 6 or 10, I think. He says if someone continues to sin after they basically have tasted the Spirit, they become a Christian. If they continue to sin over and over and over, he says there's no more sacrifice for you. So I still would think, I think, he doesn't go on for a dissertation. If I time travel and said, can you say more? Do you mean if a person just chooses to live in a sinful state forever? I think that's what he means. And I go, well, yeah, that fits everything else in the New Testament. If he goes, no, I mean, if they choose to sin twice after becoming a Jesus, they're over and they're out forever, no matter if they want to come back. I don't think that's what it means, though. I think he's talking to a person who apostatizes. They go, I forget you. No, I rescind my baptismal waters. And as I've said many times, there are millions of people around the globe who have done that. It's very popular now. It's very in vogue to deconstruct, which doesn't always mean they leave the faith, but oftentimes it does. Oh, they're all over YouTube, 5 million clicks, why I left the faith. That's called apostasy. I think he gives us the capacity to do that. What if that person who did I apostatize and then 12 years from now or 12 minutes ago, I changed my mind. I was wrong. I was led astray. I was in a sinful relationship and my heart was broken. And I go, I think God says, come back. That's my view. Because of the parables and this teaching of Jesus. Come on. If there's genuine repentance. Yeah, that is my view. Yeah. Based on a lot of biblical reasons. Any question or comments about that? Thank you, Bonnie.
What's the difference between that and the lost sheep? Who comes after the lost sheep?
Good. So the lost sheep in Luke 15 as well. So the so-called lost sheep, I have a picture in my office right now, but I just about to get framed. Yeah, he says he goes after the one. The 99 goes after the one who wanders off. Yeah, I think that's the same thing. That's one of the many parables that tell me that Jesus says that's what he is like in God the Father and Spirit. We chase after those that are wandering off. I'm not sure if the analogy of the wandering sheep fits what Bonnie is talking about, if it's someone who was a sheep in the fold, then abandoned him, and then wants to come back, or is he referencing people who are in the community of faith, but they're marginalized. They're out the outskirts of the quote faith. So is it like might say he's reaching out to a person who then comes to Jesus and that's the lost sheep and that's settled? Or does that analogy apply to any point at any time everyone wanders off? I'm not sure. I hope that helps at all. Nevertheless, in my interpretation, which is mine, I think the principle is still true that if I had to choose one, David, can someone reject Jesus and then later on be restored? My answer is I think yes. Yes. I do think that based on parables like that. Luke 15 has 3 parables in a row, that lostness. And he goes, I want the lost, including those who were found, then lost again, and they come back and want to be found. I'll find them all over again. That's my view. I don't think he says, you're out. You had your chance. You went to church for a few months. That is my view.
I think that if I turn my back on God, am I then worshiping another God or some type of materialistic thing? That's the first thing I thought of.
That's okay. So maybe if we turn our back on God and start worshiping a different God,
Yeah, that would be the sin also. But then also God gives me the conviction of, when I come back to repent and ask for forgiveness for stepping away from
I agree. So if we do leave and worship another God, we call that idolatry in the Bible. I worship a false God. Yeah, I do think that's a sin. Yeah. Now that one, back to Morbani, we have numerous verses that call that a sin. If that does that make it explicitly says it, and that's why I go, that's a sin. Morbani says if turning away from God is that a sin, I don't know of a Bible verse that has that exact vocabulary, and that's why I'm just trying to be very specific with my words. But I still think that is a sin to turn away from God. But idolatry, I go, yes, green flag or bad flag, red flag. Yes, I do, and I agree with you. I think when the Spirit moves inside of us, then we go, oh, we feel conviction. Ideally, if we repent, He's like, come back home, baby. Repentance, like C.S. Lewis says, is laying down your arms. That is to say, you cannot go back to God without giving up whatever you're doing. There's no other way of doing it. Elaine, I want to be restored in our marriage. Great. Tell me about the other women. Oh, I've got a few girlfriends. Then you're not restored in marriage. It is logically incoherent to say that. And that's like that with God. Repentance means you have to choose. Good. Top of page 29. Thank you for that. So that's God toward us. God respects our boundaries. We should respect God's boundaries. This was a big earth-shattering for me. A mature relationship with God requires that we understand He's not our servant, He's not our pet, He's not our vending machine. I like to say it this way, He's not our cosmic Santa Claus. He's not. He's not a cosmic genie. I just give Him some wishes, that's my prayers. He is God. I'm not God. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His boundaries are not up for negotiation. I mean, He's God and we're not. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That's it. He doesn't report. I'll say more about that in a second. One, God's always responsible for Himself, right? We must reject theology that uses God's emotions as a form of manipulation for the child's behavior. You made God sad. God's angry because of what you did today. Well, to that I go, well, yeah, I mean, kind of, but I don't want to use that for manipulation. So stop what you're doing, because then we teach our children that He's reactive, that He's up there going, oh no, Julia broke the rules, I'm so upset. It teaches we manipulate God, and we don't manipulate God. He responds from perfect justice, mercy, love, never from wounded pride. He's never emotionally unstable. God's never unhealthy. God's never dysfunctional. God's never manipulated by what you do. He can't be. He can't be. He's not cajoled. He's not influenced. He's not influenceable. He's responsible for Himself. He's responsible for Himself. Don't you make God sad up there. I mean, imagine the pressure of controlling God's emotional state. God's in control of whatever states He's in. He's responsible for that. Respect His boundary. Stop trying to act like you control God. You don't. You can't. He's God. He's okay. He doesn't need your help. My help. Woo! That just feels lighter. Okay. The universe won't come collapsing because I had to make sure God was happy this morning. 2, God has the right to say no. I like that in 2 Corinthians 12. 3 times Paul said, take this thorn away, take this thorn away. No, 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 no. It wasn't cruelty, but he said, my grace is sufficient. I mean, he just, to love God well is to accept that He decides what He gives, when He gives it, and why He gives it. That's it. I mean, that's just it. I say this all the time. God doesn't report to you. He doesn't report to me. He has the right to say no. That helped me so much in my own theology 25 years ago. I mean, I knew it, but to hear it so clear, He can say no. No, David, no. I picture myself something like a little child myself. Come on, God. He's like, I said no. I can hear God, respect my no. And Julie grabs a cat. Respect God's no, Cinderella. You hear God? I don't report to you, David. Well, tell me why. No. Well, I need to know why that tragedy happened. I'm out. I don't want you to go, but I don't report to you. I don't owe you any explanation. But I want to understand it. I know you do. But you need to tell me. No, I don't. But I want to know why. I know you do. But you need to tell me. No, I don't. I don't need to do anything besides be God. I don't owe anything to you. But if you love God and you trust Him, you don't stay in a constant protest state toward Him. You go, okay, I do want to know why. That would make me feel better. But I'm going to trust you and trust that you're going to make me feel the way I need to feel when I need to feel it. And I surrender this need for you to explain yourself all the time. God, I struggle with that, but I'll respect your boundaries. You don't owe me anything. You give me things, and everything you give me is a gift. I do not deserve it, but you give it. Whew. Preaching to myself.
So is that to say that God provokes feelings, like certain lessons or something?
Does God provoke feelings?
Like, an example that you're just giving, I don't know, God maybe do, I don't know.
So could God provoke a feeling? I think sure he could. I think he could. I sure think he could. I tend to say I'm very specific with my language, unless when I'm being sloppy. Could he? Yes, he could. Do I know he's doing it all the time? I don't know that. I wouldn't know why to think. So my own view is, unless I have reason to think otherwise, we experience life as human beings. We have various emotional states. So we react or respond to what's happening in our lives. That's different for me than saying God made me feel that. That for me, that resonates differently. Could he do it? Sure. I just don't know why he couldn't. I think God introduces thoughts in our minds sometimes. I don't know why he could introduce an emotional state. What's that? He hardened Pharaoh's heart. He did. Yeah, I don't think that concept in Exodus applies to emotional state. I think that's a Hebrew idiom to mean he strengthened Pharaoh's resolve. So I do think he can do that because the text says he can. But that's not change his mind. That's not necessarily have a feeling. It's to help him strengthen his resolve. But also says Pharaoh also hardened his own heart. He goes back and forth, back and forth. So God has the right to say no, and then trying to force God is an act of boundary violation. When you try to bargain with God, I'll go to church the rest of my life if I'll read the Bible every day. Manipulation, claiming things without humility. God, I claim it, I claim it, I claim it. It doesn't honor God at all. It violates his freedom or tries to violate his freedom. The persistent widow, Luke 18, teaches persistence in asking, not controlling God. Asking, not controlling. Testing God, daring him to act under pressure was something even Jesus refused to do. Matthew 4, Satan tempts him. Come on, do it. Throw yourself down. He's going to save you. Do it, do it, do it. Jesus, you don't do that. You don't test God. I'm not here to manipulate him. I don't do that. And of course, resentment toward God almost always acknowledges some kind of entitlement. And I've already talked about it several times. Basically, is that when God didn't do what I want to do, I'm mad about it. I'm mad, and I'm mad, and I'm mad. So at the very bottom there, whatever God does, he does so with total freedom. He's never guilted, manipulated, or coerced. He never overfunctions, never acts out of fear, never violates the will of others to satisfy his own. He gives generously, but never resentfully. He says no clearly, and he still remains good. He is our model for what healthy, holy boundaries look like, grounded in love, not control. I mean, the idea that he loves us so much to reject him is beyond my comprehension. I can't imagine what he feels or perceives in that moment to say, you were literally designed and created to be in a love relationship with me, and you're saying no to me. I mean, the inkling of that must be like inkling as if my own children said, Dad, you're dead. Dad, you're dead to me. I mean, and that's a pale comparison to the creator of the universe. We've got a few minutes left. I think we can wrap up this last bit if you want, unless you have any questions or comments about that. Yeah.
When I first started learning about the Bible,
Yeah.
when I read where it said, ask and you shall receive,
Oh, okay.
I expected to ask for something and it happened, and that is not what happened.
Yeah.
And then I got a little, why pray?
Very good point.
That was very young then, but
I know very old people get mad. So when Jesus says, Matthew and Mark, I think and Luke as well, ask and you will receive, and you don't get it right away, like I misunderstood. That's a great point. That's great. And that, right. Most New Testament interpreters, of which I am one, interpret that to be a hyperbole, an exaggeration, to make the point that you do need to go to God the Father with your requests. Your requests matter to him. Then he also says, but, which father of you would give your son a stone when he asks for bread? Luke and Matthew's version are a little different. A scorpion or a snake instead of a fish and so forth. In other words, I'm not going to give you things that hurt you, but I do want you to ask. Trust me with the answers, but ask. I don't think it means whatever you literally ask when you want it, because the scripture's full of examples of people asking and they don't get it. Jesus says that, right? Mark 15, take this cup from me, not what I will be. He didn't go from him. He still died on the cross. Well, Jesus, the same person who said, ask and you will receive, had a prayer request that didn't get answered the way he wanted. And that aspect of the prayer request, his will was accomplished. That's what he wanted ultimately. See, I don't think that, I hear you though, but it can cause confusion. And I respect the day out of that. I do, because that's what Jesus said. How do I interpret this correctly? I do. Oh Lord, if I could time travel, Jesus, please, can you say that in such a way? Okay, tell me more. Do you really mean? Oh, okay, no, okay. Can I write that down? Is it a parable? No, I don't think it's a parable when he said that. I think it's hyperbole, a figure of speech that's exaggerative on purpose. So, for example, in Matthew 5, he says, Matthew 7, don't judge lest you be judged. First, get the 2x4, the big plank out of your own eyeball. Then you can see a little baby speck. I don't think Jesus literally means we literally have planks sticking out of our eyeball. It's hyperbole and a metaphor. First, get the big thing in your own life that's obvious to everyone but you, Mr. Judgy, and then you can help that person. Yeah. So that's not a parable, but it's hyperbolic and it's a metaphor, if that makes sense. So he uses various figures of speech. I think he does. I mean, that's standard practice. Great. No, seriously. Well, I think we can wrap up. I think we can do this, and you can read yourself. But the first thing is this. You measure success with boundaries. How do you know you're doing them well? And there's some of your handouts on the table if you want them. Page 30. The last thing is this. Anger is a God-given emotional alarm system. So whenever their boundaries are violated, manipulated, ignored, you're going to feel a little ticked off, like he did. It's your alarm signal. Many people have been trained to distrust their anger. But we want to express it well. We need to pay attention to it. Before you set your first boundary, ask these questions. Do I have permission to feel angry when I'm controlled by others? If the answer is no, you're not ready for boundaries just yet. If you say, yes, I can, that's good for you. Can I recognize when something feels wrong, even if no one else agrees with me? Something feels off about this. If you feel internal permission, you're on your way. Am I in tune with my early warning system, or do I shut it down out of fear or guilt? Well, then you need to tell the truth about which causes anger, like God does. He tells the truth when he's mad about something. You just say, that's not okay. I gave you a whole bunch of examples of what to do in that. So first is that it's an alarm system you want to pay attention to. Our alarm systems can be messed up. They can be skewed. They can be wounded, affected by sin, bad parenting. Yes, still pay attention to it. Still pay attention to it. 2, you're going to love boundary lovers. People who say no in a loving, healthy way, you'll start feeling safe around them. And people who love your no, man, I'm sorry I can't do that. They go, sorry, I can't go tonight. And they go, oh, that's fine. You go, I didn't lose the relationship because I said no thank you. Oh, man, you will like those people. They're going to feel safer. First, you're going to feel very nervous around them because you won't know how to play that dysfunctional dance because they don't play that game. But that's all you knew as a kid. But then you're going to slowly go. I mean, it will change the dynamic. Not just romantically, but that changes too. But just with friends base, you'll love boundary lovers. Again, boundary lovers aren't people who are mean and rude and punks and controlling. They're just, yeah, no problem. Sounds good. Hey, you like that music? I don't. No big deal. Cool. Fine. I'm not here to control you, change you. I don't want to fix you. I don't want to change you. You need to join a small group if you can. A safe group. It might be one person. Maybe it's a small group literally of a handful of people. But grace-filled, honest, limiting, honoring believers. Man, that's it. God works, I think, some of his, well, besides direct miracles. Secondly, works his best work through other Christians together. who are loving each other and respecting each other's boundary. There's so much growth in that. I don't think we grow the best on an isolated, on an island. We grow best together as community. Fourth, you're going to better understand what you value, and you'll defend it better. Healthy people reflect your worth back to you. They help you go, yeah, man, that's good for you. I'm so sorry, I can't do it, but my mom's birthday. No, that's good. Good for you. Good for you. That's wonderful. I'm glad you said no to that. We can do coffee anytime. Oh man, you'll just say, it is okay to value that. I mean, you'll go, that's just good. Fifth, practice your baby nose. Just baby stepping. No, thank you, I don't want ketchup with that. I'm not mean when I say that. I just don't like whatever, right? You just practice them. You just practice. Build strength. You little bit by little bit by little bit. You don't retreat. You just get bigger and bigger and better at it. It's scary at first. And then when you don't feel guilty, you're flying. So the goal is not to feel anything ever. It's just that when you're able to say no, thank you, you don't feel guilty. You don't feel afraid. You go, I feel good. And then you celebrate that fact. You're able to say, that's all right, I didn't want to do that, and I did it. And then I told my good friend, and she said, way to go. And then I told him, and way to go. Make sense? Baby stepping. The journey's real. It can be hard, but you can do it. Baby stepping. Little by little. God bless you. I hope the boundary study's been worth your time and energy. If you have any questions or comments about that, don't ever ask me because I'm tired of it. I'm kidding. Respect my boundary. I'm kidding. Please feel free to come. Please, emails, calls, that we can meet together if I can support you. I don't have all the answers, but I can help support and love you. Absolutely, I love you very much. I do love you, and I hope, like you with me, I'm the work in progress by the grace of Jesus. My goodness. God bless you. See you. Church. We won't have pastor studies for a while.